Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. It is the fool who always rushes to take sides. Do not commit to any side or cause but yourself. By maintaining your independence, you become the master of others, playing people against one another, making them pursue you. Part 1. Do not commit to anyone, but be courted by all. If you allow people to feel they possess you to any degree, you lose all power over them. By not committing your affections, they will only try harder to win you over. Stay aloof, and you gain the power that comes from their attention and frustrated desire. Play the Virgin Queen, give them hope, but never satisfaction. Observance of the law. In the mid-1500s, Queen Elizabeth I ascended the throne of England. And for many, many years, the issue was debated in Parliament of what type of husband she would bear, who she would marry. Now, it's expected in that time that a queen must quickly and do diligently marry as soon as possible to bear children and rule. Now, in this time, the years of debating, she had many bachelors, many suitable, proud, noble individuals come to her side, kind of trying to court her attention and trying to prove their worthiness of her marriage. And she was told that she had to quickly marry, otherwise she would be too old to bear children. But she didn't argue and she didn't discourage them. She kind of just let her be, remained a virgin nonetheless. And this game she played with everybody, with all her suitors, conjured up all types of fantasies. She ended up being worshipped. She was referred to as the world's empress. So to create some type of name like that, you really have to play the game well, and she was doing it very well. She wasn't committing to anybody, as this law pertains. She even manipulated two Frenchmen for the sake of diplomacy, so they could sign a peace treaty. So she used it to her advantage to rule the country peacefully. She did this for years and years, over a decade, and she died peacefully as the Virgin Queen. She didn't leave any children, but she ruled through peace and cultural fertility. Interpretation. Why did she do this? She did this because she knew that marriage can often lead to a ruler's undoing. By marrying, committing to somebody, all types of conflicts can be conjured up, which can eventually lead to war and sometimes death. And her goals, this was in line with her goals. She took these actions in line with her goals to avoid marriage and to avoid war, and she had done this successfully. She dangled the possibility of marriage in order to forge alliances. The moment she committed to any single suitor would have been the moment she lost her power. She had to emanate mystery and desirability, never discouraging anyone's hopes, but never yielding. At the center of attention, she was in control, keeping her independence. Above all, Elizabeth protected her power and made herself an object of worship. I would rather be a beggar and single than a queen and married. Queen Elizabeth I. And that reminds me of Kanye West. I'd rather be a dick than a swallower from a song called New Slaves of his album Yeezus. That kind of reminds me of it. Keys to power. Now this idea of not committing to anyone, but being courted by all, it makes me think of, and I'm sure many other people, makes me think of women, but not just any woman, but people who have heavy social media followings, who are courting attention by posting certain specific tactful things. See, society calls that thirst trapping. A lot of Americans use that term to, when a girl will post provocative photos of herself, half naked, for attention. And she will leverage this to put ourselves in positions of opportunities, whether that be to make money or to be with high quality men, to be with powerful men. So you can play the modern day Queen Elizabeth. You can play the modern day Queen Elizabeth by leveraging your appearance, like your physical attractions, and leveraging the strengths you have. Remember though, the goal is not to put people off or to make it seem that you are incapable of commitment. Like the Virgin Queen, you need to stir the pot, excite interest, lure people with the possibility of having you. And the possibility of having somebody, the mystery, the provocation, is what is so enticing to so many people. It's why I believe the opposite sex has so much power. because of how the majority of men look at women. Not just any women though, there's certain power to be said about a woman who can really excite interest and lure a man through mystery, the unknown. And it also makes me think of marriage and whether human beings are meant to be with one single person for their entire life. Polyamorous relationships and monogamous relationships. Polyamorous meaning multiple partners. Monogamous, the opposite, is what we see most in our society, just one partner. So, not committing to anyone. People do that. People have polyamorous relationships. You ask that question, like, are human beings really wired to stay with one person for an extended period of time, for an entire lifetime, for years and decades? I don't know. I've seen success in both. But it just makes you think, do not commit to anyone falls in line with a polyamorous. Not committing completely to any one human being or thing or object. You are more free, you're more open, more opportunities. But also you may have less experience because you haven't fully made yourself vulnerable to another person or another being. So, just a thought. I want to hear yours. If you have strong thoughts, I want to hear it. Write it down below. But it's not just relationships, it's about conversation and values and opinions and beliefs. People who rush to the support of others tend to gain little respect in the process, for their help is so easily obtained, while those who stand back find themselves besieged and supplicants. Their aloofness is powerful, and everyone wants them on their side. When Picasso had become one of the most successful artists in the world in his time, he did not commit to any one dealer. He had attracted offers from everywhere, but appeared to have no interest in any one individual service, and this rose people's want for him and rose his prices, and his authority and his fame and his power. Stay aloof and people will come to you. It will become a challenge for them to win your affections. As long as you imitate the wise virgin queen and stimulate their hopes, you will remain a magnet of attention and desire. So really, don't commit 100% to any one camp or idea. Tai Lopez talks about being able to argue the other person's viewpoint just as well as you can argue your own. If you are a vegan, can you argue? Can you understand the opinion and point of view of someone who eats meat and eats freely whatever they want? Can you understand that? Can you argue it? Can you see the pros and cons and strengths and weaknesses of each argument? I think if you can understand that, then you can stay aloof. And if you do need to come to one side, because eventually you will, I would say do so diligently, do so tactfully and slowly and patiently. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone.